Hey, que la que hay, mi gente? It's Rocky here from SpeakSpanishFaster.com. And think about this. If you put que versus cuál into a Spanish translator, it's going to tell you that que means what and that cuál means which. But there's a problem. Que can also mean which and cuál can also mean what. For example, if I ask you ¿qué libro prefiere?, that means which book do you prefer? Or if I ask you ¿cuál es tu problema?, that means what is your problem? So, as you can see in those two examples, the word que meant which and cuál meant what. So what is the difference between the two? And how can you know when to use one rather than the other? Don't worry, because that is what we are going to be talking about in today's video. Now, first, I want to test you on que versus cuál. So I'm going to give you 10 questions to answer. So grab a pen and piece of paper. Seriously, pause the video and get a pen and get a piece of paper. Okay, ready? So how this is going to work is you're going to get 10 questions. Now, you're going to have about 5 seconds to answer each question. After you answer the questions, we're going to review a few rules for que and cuál, and then I will reveal the answers, and we're going to go through the why for each answer. But for these first questions, I just want you to answer them however you think it should naturally be, all right? Answer these naturally, and then comment below with how many you get right. So if you get 10 right, then write 10 out of 10, or if you get 7 right, then write 7 out of 10 in the comments, all right? Okay, so let's get started. All right, now before we get to the answers, let's look at some basic rules for determining the difference between que or cuál. So as we kind of talked about in the beginning, we know that both que and cuál can both mean what and they can both mean which. So how do you know when to use each one? Now, first, let's look at the que side. The definitions and explanations, you're going to use que. So whenever you're asking a what question, this is the most common, you're going to use que. All right, what's wrong? ¿Qué te pasa? That's, you're looking for an explanation. What is wrong? All right, ¿qué te pasa? You wouldn't say ¿cuál te pasa? Obviously, that wouldn't even sound right. So part of this is doing what's natural. And then on those few situations where you don't know which one to use, like usually it's going to be pretty clear, because I would say you're going to use que a lot more than you're going to use cuál. But on those tricky scenarios, it is important to know the difference between when to use each one. All right, so of course, easy definition explanation, like ¿qué es una tesis? What is a thesis? Here we are looking for a definition. Again, a lot of this usually comes naturally, but here are the explanations for why we have que here. All right, now the next, and this is where it starts to get a little more, not confusing, but this is where people start making mistakes. So for example, before nouns in a question, because we have ¿qué número es? What number is it? ¿Qué número es? What number is it? All right, that's a noun. The noun here is número. ¿Qué comes right before that. It wouldn't be ¿cuál número es? Even if we want to say which number is it, whenever we have the noun right after what here, we always use que. So, ¿qué número es? What number is it? Now, the second example here is where things could get really confusing. We have ¿qué comida prefiere? Which food do you prefer? A lot of people might make the mistake in saying ¿cuál comida prefiere? Because they think cuál just means which. ¿Cuál comida prefiere? Would be incorrect. It's ¿qué comida prefiere? Why? Because what comes before the noun, or which comes before the noun. Whenever that's the case, you would use que here, all right? So in this example, where que is before the noun. It could mean what or it could mean which. Now, another situation where you will always see que here is for expressions, exclamation. Anytime you see an exclamation mark, it's always going to be a que there when you are saying, like, when you are emphasizing something. So, que bella es mi mujer. Like, how beautiful is my woman. Que bonita es mi mujer. Like, she's how beautiful. Que lástima. Like, what a pity. Que bueno. How awesome. How great. Anytime there, you're going to use que. So you'll always see que there. And then, of course, telling time. Telling time, we always use que. Que hora es. We never say cuál hora es. All right? We always say que hora es. So that is when you will be using que. I would say the real one that you just need to focus on is the before the nouns, because that's when que could mean which at times. So just remember, anytime what comes before a noun, it's going to be que. All right? Now, next we have cuál. Cuál you usually are going to use in situations where you're using a form of ser, but you are not seeking a definition of something. Usually you are choosing between two things, or you are choosing something. But here we would never say, ¿qué es tu problema? It's always, ¿cuál es tu problema? All right? So anytime we are using, again, a form of ser, like what is blank, the problem, all right? And it's not a definition. Remember in the first example, ¿qué es una tesis? ¿Qué una tesis? We use ¿qué es there because we are looking for a definition. ¿Cuál es tu problema? We are not looking for a definition, all right? We are pretty much just asking what is a problem, all right? There could be many different answers to this question, and that is kind of a key that can help you know when to use ¿cuál es? ¿Cuál es tu número? So you don't say ¿qué es tu número? ¿Cuál es tu número? All right? You only use ¿qué es if it is a definition. ¿Cuál es tu número? That's not a definition. That's not an explanation. All right? ¿Cuáles son tus planes para mañana? ¿Cuáles son tus planes para mañana? What are your plans for tomorrow? Remember, there could be many different plans. So that's why we say, what are your plans? Now, another key to notice here is cuál has a plural form. Okay, so for que is always just que, but cuál, when we are talking singular, one problem, ¿cuál es tu problema? Is just es, ¿cuál es? It's singular. But when we have plural, like what are your plans in plural, cuál changes to cuál es, and then we don't use es, we use son. So, ¿cuáles son tus planes para mañana? ¿Cuáles son tus problemas? If somebody had more than one problem, ¿cuáles son tus problemas? What are your problems? I have an entire blog post that I wrote to help you with this. So if you need more help with this, I'll have a link in the comments for you as well that will send you to a blog post that will dive deeper into this subject. Next, we have cuál is used to make a choice. So, ¿cuál de estos animales es un gato? And I kind of talked about using cuál in the beginning when I got on the cuál section of using it to make a choice. So whenever you're saying which of these animals, which of these anything, you're going to use cuál. So, ¿cuál de estos animales es un gato? ¿Cuál es tu color favorito? What is your favorite color? Again, we're using cuál. You don't say ¿qué es tu color favorito? Remember, ¿qué es used for definitions. When we are asking somebody, when there are multiple choices that they can choose from, we're going to use cuál es or cuál. Okay? So it could be cuál es or it could be cuáles son. So those are the basic differences between the two. And it'll make more sense as we go through the actual answers and we choose why we chose these answers. So just remember this kind of baseline here. These are just a few definitions and examples that can help you know the difference between the two. But the way you're really going to learn is putting them in action and really seeing them in real life scenarios. So that's why we're doing this quiz, so I can point out why you are using each one. So let's get into the answers for this quiz. Number 1, ¿qué significa hombre en español? So the reason we have que here is because we are asking for a definition. Pretty simple there. ¿Qué significa hombre en español? All right, number 2, ¿cuál es tu apellido? ¿Cuál es tu apellido? This is what is your last name? The reason we're not using que here is because qué es is always for definition. Anytime you say qué es this, what is this, usually there's only one answer for that because, again, we're looking for a definition to what this is. But here, there are many options, right? There are billions of last names somebody could have. ¿Cuál es? What is their last name? So again, here, cuál does mean what, but we don't use qué because we are not looking for a definition and we're looking for a choice between many different last names. So just remember that anytime there is a what is blank, if there are numerous answers, a lot of times you're going to be using cuál. Okay, number 3, vamos a la discoteca. ¿Qué te vas a poner? ¿Qué te vas a poner? What are you going to wear? We're going to the club. What are you going to wear? So again, we're asking simple explanation. What are you going to wear? Simple. Again, a lot of times you're going to be using qué. Cuál is not as common as qué in everyday conversation. The key is really just knowing when to use cuál, okay? Number 4, ¿cuál es tu comida favorita? ¿Cuál es tu comida favorita? Again, this is similar to number 2. The reason why we don't use qué es because we're not asking for a definition. ¿Cuál es tu comida favorita? There are many options that somebody's favorite food could be. Anytime we're choosing between one thing or another, what is, your favorite food, your favorite color? Anytime we're doing those things, asking for a choice between different options, we're going to use cuál. Okay, ¿qué estás haciendo? What are you doing? That's a simple explanation. That's pretty basic. Everybody knows that. You never say cuál estás haciendo. ¿Qué estás haciendo? Now, this is a tricky one, all right? ¿Qué es un apellido? ¿Qué es un apellido? Why is this? I want you to really think, why is this not cuál es un apellido? Because if you look back, we went back to what was number 2. This was very similar. ¿Cuál es tu apellido? But this one is ¿qué es un apellido? What is a last name? This we are asking for a definition. We're not asking for a choice like what is your last name between many different last names. Here we are asking what is a last name. It's a definition. There's only one answer to this question. All right? All right, next, number 7, we have me dijiste que tienes 2 perros. ¿Cuáles son los tuyos? All right, so remember here, first off, you would never see que es son. That just doesn't work. And remember, cuál, the plural, here we're asking a question. Choose, out of the many dogs that you could have, which one are yours? And here we have cuáles son los tuyos? Which ones are yours? Remember, cuáles is plural. It's the plural form of cuál. Next, we have ¿cuál es la comida típica de tu país? What is the typical food from your country? Again, you could choose between many different types of foods. We're not asking for a definition here. We are asking for you to choose out of the many different foods, which is the food from your country. All right, next we have ¿qué quiere cenar? We're asking somebody what do they want to eat. So, ¿qué quiere cenar? Next, we have ¿cuál de estos es el mejor? So, which of these two is the best? Remember, whenever you're choosing between two things, you're going to use cuál. So I want you to tally how many you got right, how many you got wrong, and comment down below with that answer. And then go back through this, make sure you kind of understand these topics. And again, the best way to really learn this stuff is really just using it in the real world situations. That's why I wanted to kind of have you take the quiz by picking the answers naturally and then learning why you chose those answers or why those answers are the answers that they are for that question. So I hope you enjoyed this little quiz. If you found today's video helpful and you are looking to take your Spanish to the next level so that you could comprehend Spanish better and so that you can speak it better, then click the first link in the comments. I will pin the link in the comments. Go to that link. That's going to take you to my free training where I'm going to show you my 3 biggest secrets to improving your Spanish. If you enjoyed the video, do me a big favor, hit the thumbs up for me. Comment below. Let me know what else you need help with. Of course, that's why I created this channel. Anything you comment below, I will try my best to create a video to help you. Last but not least, please do not forget to subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications so you never miss another video. Until next time, I'll see you then.